The small town of Dunn, Illinois, has become a battleground for political conflict as tensions continue to rise between Mayor Tiffany Henyard and Trustee Kay Bella. What began as routine governance disputes has now escalated into a fierce struggle over power, transparency, and accountability. The divide between the two political figures has not only affected the town's leadership, but has also left the community deeply polarized. Bella has been one of the most outspoken critics of Henyard's administration, particularly questioning its transparency and financial decisions. She has repeatedly raised concerns about how the town's budget is being managed, pointing to what she sees as a lack of clear documentation and accountability. This criticism has gained traction among residents, with some supporting Bella's calls for stronger oversight, while others stand by Henyard, arguing that she is doing her best under difficult circumstances. As the conflict intensifies, board meetings have turned into heated debates, with emotions running high on both sides. What was once a typical local government discussion has transformed into a public spectacle, drawing significant attention from the town's residents. For many, this debate is no longer just about politics. It is about trust, integrity, and the direction of Dunn's future. The growing division has put local government operations at risk, with concerns over whether the administration can continue to function effectively amidst the discord. The stakes are high, and with neither side willing to back down, the town finds itself at a crossroads. How this conflict is resolved will have lasting implications for Dunn's leadership, financial stability, and overall governance. Meanwhile, a similar situation is unfolding in the neighboring village of Dalton, Illinois. Trustee Kay Bella has taken a firm stance against Mayor Tiffany Henyard's financial management, raising serious concerns about spending practices and transparency. Bella has become a key figure in the movement to hold Henyard accountable, leading to escalating tensions between the two leaders. Bella's primary concern revolves around the village's financial expenditures, particularly funds that seem to have been allocated without proper oversight. She has accused Henyard's administration of overspending and deliberately obstructing documentation to avoid scrutiny. These allegations have led to a significant rift, not only within the government but also among the town's residents. The situation reached a boiling point during a recent board meeting when Bella confronted Henyard with pointed questions about the village's financial decisions. Specifically, she questioned whether certain monetary allocations had been pre-approved without the board's knowledge. In a tense exchange, Bella revealed that several expenses had been paid without prior authorization, raising alarms about potential mismanagement. Following an awkward silence, the village's attorney attempted to clarify the matter, stating that individual bills under $5,000 could be processed without direct board approval, though they could be retroactively reviewed. The attorney also noted that these particular expenses were covered by a special event fund designated for such costs. However, when Bella pressed further, she uncovered a troubling detail. Invoices for the event had been deliberately split into smaller amounts, each under $5,000, effectively bypassing the board's oversight. This revelation infuriated Bella, who viewed it as a clear violation of financial protocol. She refused to let the issue be dismissed and voted against approving the motion, calling the entire process ambiguous and deceptive. She questioned the integrity of the system, arguing that such practices undermine transparency and public trust. Henyard, on the other hand, defended the expenditures, claiming that all spending remained within budget and dismissing Bella's objections as political theatrics. She asserted that handling financial matters behind closed doors was necessary to maintain efficiency and avoid unnecessary controversy. However, Bella remained steadfast in her demand for greater openness, arguing that public officials had a duty to ensure financial decisions were made with full transparency. Bella's bold stance gained significant support from the public, many of whom attended the meeting and vocally backed her demands for accountability. The audience's reaction intensified the tension in the room, making it clear that the divide between Henyard's supporters and Bella's backers was growing wider. The controversy surrounding Henyard's administration has sparked intense debate among Dalton's residents. Some believe that Henyard's leadership is being unfairly challenged and that she is simply navigating the complexities of local governance. Others, however, see Bella's criticisms as valid and believe that without greater transparency, the town risks falling into financial disarray. In response to the public outcry, whispers began circulating about possible legal action against the administration. Some community members have even suggested that an independent audit of the town's finances may be necessary to determine whether any wrongdoing has occurred. Meanwhile, tensions continue to mount within the board, making it increasingly difficult for local government officials to work together effectively. The ongoing battle between Henyard and Bella has not only created division, but has also placed Dalton's future in question. With financial integrity at the heart of the dispute, the stakes remain high. If Bella's claims of mismanagement are proven true, it could result in significant consequences for Henyard and her administration. On the other hand, if Henyard successfully defends her decisions, it may further solidify her leadership position while damaging Bella's credibility. As the situation unfolds, residents of Dalton and neighboring communities are watching closely. The conflict has drawn attention far beyond local government meetings, igniting conversations about the importance of financial transparency in small-town politics. With so much at stake, it remains to be seen whether this political drama will lead to real change or simply deepen the divisions within the town. For now, the uncertainty lingers, and all eyes are on the next board meeting, where the future of Dalton may take another unexpected turn. The leadership of Mayor Tiffany Henyard in the village of Dalton, Illinois, is facing mounting criticism as allegations of financial mismanagement, a lack of transparency, and questionable spending practices continue to surface. What initially seemed like minor concerns about the administration's financial decisions has grown into a full-scale controversy, exposing deeper issues regarding accountability in local government. The dissatisfaction with Henyard's leadership reached a boiling point during a recent board meeting when she presented the village's budget at an unusually late hour, just minutes before the board was scheduled to vote. This move was met with immediate frustration from Trustee Bella, who accused Henyard of intentionally delaying the budget presentation to prevent a thorough review. Bella pointed out that, in previous years, the budget had been made available well in advance, giving residents and board members ample time to analyze the financial details and provide feedback. Henyard, however, dismissed these concerns and insisted that the timing was not an issue. Her reluctance to address transparency concerns only deepened public distrust. Many residents felt that withholding critical budget details until the last minute was a deliberate strategy to limit scrutiny and maintain control over financial decisions. The lack of openness, particularly regarding financial matters, further fueled skepticism about Henyard's leadership. Bella, alongside other concerned trustees and residents, argued that this approach was not only ineffective, but also damaging to the community's trust in its local government. The ongoing push for greater financial transparency has made Bella a vocal advocate for accountability, while Henyard's continued resistance to answering tough questions has cast doubt on her ability to govern effectively. As tensions between Henyard and the trustees continue to escalate, the future of Dalton's leadership remains uncertain. The controversy surrounding Henyard's financial practices has raised serious concerns among residents, many of whom now demand stronger oversight and greater accountability from their local government. Henyard, once known for her attention to detail in financial matters, now appears to be dismissing or deflecting concerns about questionable expenditures. This shift in leadership style has frustrated many in the community, particularly those who previously supported her. A troubling double standard has emerged. While Henyard once positioned herself as a champion of fiscal responsibility, she now seems unwilling to accept scrutiny or provide clear answers regarding the village's financial health. One of the most significant revelations in this unfolding controversy came in the wake of a credit card scandal. During an investigation into the village's financial records, the finance director disclosed that the village's credit cards had been canceled the previous year. This raised immediate concerns among residents and board members, including Trustee Jason House, who demanded an explanation. It was soon discovered that Henyard had authorized numerous transactions totaling tens of thousands of dollars using the village's credit cards. However, when asked to provide documentation justifying these expenses, she failed to present any substantial evidence. As investigations into these financial irregularities progressed, Henyard's leadership came under intense scrutiny. At one point, in an apparent attempt to shift the blame, Henyard accused board members and trusted community figures of embezzling funds from the village. These accusations, which were made without any supporting evidence, only added to the growing distrust in her administration. Many viewed her claims as an attempt to deflect attention away from her own questionable spending practices. Despite mounting evidence against her, Henyard maintained control over the village's financial accounts and continued to defend her administration's spending. Her justification for the controversial expenses was weak at best. She insisted that all transactions were legitimate, yet failed to produce documentation proving that the funds were used appropriately. Further investigations revealed that many of these questionable expenses had been approved by the village's Financial Oversight Board, which included members of Henyard's own team. Emails from the bank contradicted her earlier claims, showing that she had retained control over the accounts despite previous assertions to the contrary. The public outcry over these financial discrepancies continued to grow, with residents demanding greater transparency in how taxpayer money was being allocated. Many began calling for an independent audit of the village's finances to determine the full extent of the mismanagement. As pressure mounted, Henyard shifted her narrative, portraying herself as the victim of a political attack. She claimed that her critics were unfairly targeting her, and that the controversy was being exaggerated by those who sought to undermine her leadership. However, this defense did little to quell the public's frustration. With public trust in the administration at an all-time low, Dalton now finds itself at a critical crossroads. The ongoing leadership crisis has created a deep divide within the community, with some residents calling for Henyard's resignation, while others argue that the situation is being blown out of proportion. Meanwhile, the village's ability to function effectively is being called into question. The contentious relationship between Henyard and the trustees has made it increasingly difficult to pass important legislation and implement necessary policy changes. If the financial mismanagement allegations continue to gain traction, the possibility of legal action against the administration remains on the table. For Dalton's residents, the stakes are high. The outcome of this controversy will not only determine the town's immediate financial future, but will also set a precedent for how local government officials are held accountable. As the situation unfolds, all eyes are on the next board meeting, where Henyard is expected to address the growing concerns. However, whether she will provide the transparency that residents are demanding remains uncertain. Bella and her supporters continue to push for answers, determined to hold the administration accountable. Their efforts have sparked an important conversation about financial integrity and government transparency, one that will likely have long-term implications for Dalton's leadership. For now, the village remains in a state of political and financial uncertainty. The coming weeks will be critical in determining whether Henyard can salvage her administration's reputation, or whether the mounting allegations will force a change in leadership. Regardless of the outcome, one thing is clear. The residents of Dalton will not accept secrecy and mismanagement from their elected officials. Demand for accountability has never been stronger, and the pressure on Henyard's administration is unlikely to subside anytime soon. The political landscape in Dalton, Illinois, is undergoing a dramatic shift as Mayor Tiffany Henyard faces increasing scrutiny over allegations of financial mismanagement, secrecy, and a lack of transparency. What was once a solid base of supporters has started to erode, as residents grow frustrated with an administration that appears more focused on maintaining power than addressing the village's pressing financial concerns. Henyard has repeatedly dismissed accusations against her as politically motivated attacks, claiming that her opponents are attempting to damage her reputation and weaken her influence. However, this defensive stance has only fueled the perception that she is more concerned with preserving her public image than resolving the community's financial struggles. Her reluctance to accept responsibility, coupled with a lack of accountability, has pushed tensions within the village to a breaking point. Where Henyard once enjoyed strong backing, dissatisfaction with her leadership is now becoming more widespread. Many residents who once supported her are beginning to question whether she is truly working in the best interest of Dalton. The ongoing scandal, along with her refusal to engage in transparent governance, has left many wondering whether she is capable of prioritizing the needs of the village over her own political survival. As frustration mounts, the bigger question facing Dalton is not just about Henyard's leadership, but about the overall direction of the village. With public trust in the mayor's ability to govern rapidly deteriorating, the town finds itself at a critical juncture. The ongoing power struggle between Henyard and her political opponents is likely to have long-lasting consequences for Dalton's governance and its residents. The uncertain future of Henyard's administration has led many to speculate whether she can regain the trust of the people or if a new leader will emerge to guide the village towards stability. The deepening divide between Henyard and the other trustees, particularly those pushing for greater transparency, has made cooperation nearly impossible. Trustee Bella and her allies have repeatedly called for financial accountability, demanding clearer oversight of government expenditures. However, Henyard has resisted these efforts, using her authority to remind the board that trustees do not have direct control over the day-to-day operations of the village. While this is technically true, her refusal to engage in open discussions about governance has only intensified suspicions that she is more focused on consolidating power than on serving the public. As these disputes continue to dominate Dalton's political scene, many residents are growing impatient with the lack of progress on important community issues. Increasingly, the perception is that Henyard's administration is more focused on political maneuvering than on delivering meaningful results for the people of Dalton. Trustee Bella has been particularly vocal in calling out what she sees as excessive spending and a failure to foster cooperation within the local government. While her efforts have earned praise from some residents, they have also made her a target of Henyard's increasingly defensive administration. The mayor's unwillingness to address tough questions from the board has reinforced the growing belief that she is more interested in maintaining control than in fulfilling her responsibilities as an elected official. At recent board meetings, these tensions have become even more apparent. Heated exchanges between Henyard and trustees have exposed deeper issues within the administration, particularly regarding the mayor's handling of financial matters. The refusal to provide straightforward answers or engage in meaningful discussions about transparency has led many to conclude that Henyard's leadership style is defined more by secrecy than by accountability. One of the most contentious issues surrounding Henyard's leadership is the administration's handling of financial oversight. Concerns about questionable spending practices and a lack of documentation have only grown in recent months, raising alarms among both trustees and residents. Henyard's reluctance to share financial records has led some to suspect that there may be more to the story than she is willing to admit. While her administration has claimed that all financial transactions are justified, the failure to provide clear documentation has fueled skepticism. This ongoing battle over transparency has become a defining issue in Dalton's political climate, with residents increasingly demanding answers about how taxpayer money is being managed. Despite repeated calls for greater oversight, Henyard has remained largely resistant to change. Instead of addressing the concerns head-on, she has attempted to discredit her critics